welcome to Scrolling with Caesar. Today is July 30th, 2026. Okay, so got a good amount of tweets for you today. As always, though, it's not financial advice, just my own opinions and thoughts while I'm reading through crypto Twitter. Now, taking a quick look at the charts, ETH is up about 0.5%. BTC is up 1.6%. The charts look okay. It's quite nice still. I'm happy with the way this is going. Hype is still quite a bit lower. So bouncing around the bottom of my range. I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. Taking a look at the stocks that I had. So yesterday we had a huge red candle on SPY, but it's kind of recovered a lot of it. Still bouncing around in range. Google is in a good spot as well in my liquidity position. And this kind of bothers me. Yesterday I decided to actually pull the Scandic because I was like, yeah, there's nothing holding this thing up, right? It's just like a lot of space down here. So I pulled my liquidity from here and then it recovered. So I lost money, and then if I would have just pulled it today, then I would have made all that. I wouldn't have lost any money, but anyhow, it is what it is. It's trading like a meme coin. It's hard to know what's going to happen every single day. It's up 22%. So anyhow, that's that. Let's get into the tweets. Well, first let's take a quick look at the gold. Gold is looking all right as well. I clicked it, but it's not loading. Okay. Yeah, so it's bouncing around the bottom of my range. I'm okay with this. I wish it would come up a little bit higher up into here, and then I can rebalance or think about it, but I'm not going to do anything at this spot here. So let's get into some of the tweets. So scrolling along, getting lots of new stuff. So the first tweet here that I pulled aside was Coinbase, happy 11 years of Ethereum, the pioneer chain, so much of what crypto is today. So, Coinbase just saying happy 11 years, happy birthday, or, well, it's not really birthday, but happy 11 years, Ethereum. And then Jarag replies to him like, funny post to make when Coinbase is about to announce they sold all their ETH sequencer fees, like they do every earnings report. Yeah, so Coinbase has CBETH. They've got validators. All of the validator fees that they collect, they just sell for US dollars. Just get out of that. Now, I think it's pretty bad because for two reasons. Number one, they don't pay dividends to their stocks, so they don't have an obligation to sell all of it to give it to stockholders or something like that. They also, of course, they have to sell some because they got to pay taxes, right? I don't know how the corporate tax system works for them, but they could compound a little bit, right? But instead, they just use other people's money to build this, like, these fees, because other people are giving them the ETH and they're putting that ETH in CB. Other people are putting their ETH into CBETH and giving, maybe they've got to get paid. They're getting some share of the CBETH is definitely getting some share of that sequencer fees and sequencer revenue. But all the revenue that goes that Coinbase is taking as their cut for running the LST, they're just selling it all for, I assume, stable coins. I don't know, maybe USDC. I don't know, but that's kind of like, obviously they could be a little bit more aligned. They could go long on Ethereum a little bit, but they're not. Anyhow. Moving on, so a large borrower just migrated his bold USDC position to other markets. Good news is the same amount of rewards are still streaming, leading a massive APR of 200%. So what is this? This is if you use bold USDC to borrow USG, which is like Tangent's stable coin, then you can like loop this up because it's all stable coins right now. Mind your price impact, mind your pegs and stuff like that. But you can loop this thing up and get like 200% APR on stable coins. You're exposed to several things, but you do some due diligence on this and figure out if this is what you want to do. But that's pretty juicy, I would say. Moving on. So here we have this guy here, he listened to this Sam Kazmian talking to the roll-ups in Las Vegas. This is just a 1 minute video right here of Sam. He was actually going on stage at this conference as well. So here are some of the things that he talked about. So, Royal did the legwork for us, so we can kind of take his word on it. So 30 plus paykeeper pools. So a paykeeper pool is when you use FRX USD as your other coin in your liquidity pool for a project. So 30 of those. That's fantastic. Early integrations on V4, EtherFi, Cash Card. I use FRX USD in my Cash EtherFi Vault because, it gives me 3%. Might as well. Forex pairs on Polygon with leading non-US dollar stable coins. So like on Polygon, they have a bunch of foreign currency stable coins pooled with FRX USD. Provided white label solutions for the Sonic and Solomon and more. So there's a stable coin on Sonic called USSD, and it's built using the Frax ecosystem, Frax FRX USD tech. So it's I'm not sure if there's a license fee or if it's a friendly fork. I don't know the business deal behind it, but it's the same tech. And already implemented FRX.B into privacy first venues like Canton Network. Lots more to come. Sam and Frax are working hard to become the dominant stablecoin, and I hope they do. I really hope that they take over some of the dominance of things like USDC and USDT. Moving on. So deep crypto dive. I believe this is the dev. I don't know if he's the dev or if he's the guy who just tells people about things, the community. I don't know, outreach or whatever. So he's talking about these KPKI.io vaults, where you can deposit your assets into a vault. And now what he's saying here is this morning. Let me read it. This morning, a protocol paused one of their on-chain contracts. We cut exposure to zero before I'd even finish my morning coffee. So it's like 1 or 2 blocks reaction time. So if you're depositing in a vault and they don't have these kind of infrastructure set up already to quickly pull your assets from suspicious things, suspicious actions, then what are you doing? Like there's no reason to use them. Like if you're going to get an extra like 0.5% or 1% or whatever it happens to be, but it's being run manually, then you're paying those fees for almost nothing. Like compounding's not that hard. Like auto compounding's great, but it's not that hard. And with gas fees lower, it's not a terrible thing. You want to pay fees to have proper automated reaction and due diligent assessment of farms. So those are the things you should be looking for when you deposit into a vault. And so this is a good example of that. The roll up. So here we have Robbie here talking about Hayden Adams' tweet. So Hayden Adams is trying to fix the FUD going on about the Uniswap fees, and Rob is kind of talking about his ideas on this, and it is pretty hard. Like I asked AI to tell me the answer yesterday, and they told me they're taking 25% of the LP fees. So AI even is, Grok is even spitting out that answer. So I don't know if it's true. I don't know. And here there's when you look at his tweet here, there's some contradictions in it. It's difficult, right, to understand what's going on with the fees. And because it's difficult and not straightforward, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. It doesn't really even matter now whether or not they're taking 25 or 14% or they're adding this part. LP fees are not getting reduced or false. They add the Uniswap fee on top of the fees. So that just means your pool gets arbed less. So now in order for your pool to get arbed or to get trade volume to go through it, the price has to be different by the LP fee plus the Uniswap fee now. And that's a problem. Your pool is less likely to get volume because there's two fees now. And then he goes to talk about like a little bit about how we need to like make liquidity provision on chain so appealing that the big money, the market makers, leave the centralized exchanges, and the centralized exchanges have a difficult time executing people's trades, and then eventually normies will then kind of leave as well, and maybe even centralized exchanges will have to then route through decentralized exchanges in order to give people execution that is acceptable. Anyhow, so that's Robbie talking about that and me talking about that and so forth. Moving on, here we have Engineer 33, Engineer. So he's like, risk metrics are hot right now. Did I miss any risk efforts? So he's listing out a whole bunch of places where you can go to see different kinds of like assessments of risks. So I talk a lot about Yearn Finance's Curator, curation, because it's really in-depth stuff, but there are so many that you can kind of go and check out. I really like Pharaoh's as well, and there are other ones in here, like obviously L2Beat is important. It doesn't give you really individual protocols, but like more like a chain level type risk assessment. But yeah, this is a good tweet. These are good like places to check out and to see their risk reports. And there are other ones too, but anyhow, that's that. Let's move on to Landex. So Landex, I really like this protocol. I keep using it, but anyhow, let's take a look what they're saying here. FOL, I don't know what FAO is, because here it says like UN report, so I don't really know what that is, but who cares. FAO found that 70 to 75% of food prices are added after the farm, with processing, logistics, wholesale, and marking up as much as 40% of the total costs. Making food more affordable requires capital across production, storage, and distribution. So yeah, I just thought about it, like that's one of the beauties of DeFi is that like we were able to pull out a lot of middleman fees and reduce the overhead, the increase of cost of things, because it's so like it's so efficient and easy to use. So here we have Pendle. Pendle is has this burning of 3 million, or it says 3 million USDT spent so far on Pendle buybacks, and I guess it does. There's a fire here, so I believe they're burning them as well. So Pendle's like one of those protocols that happen to like really happen to work well and like have a lot of product market fit, and a lot of people are using this every day, right? So I think it's a good I'm not going to say bet. Like I don't want people to like ever look at what I'm talking about as betting, and if you look at the price chart, it doesn't really look fantastical, but the one thing that is really good about it is you can, if you do want to bet on the depreciation of Pendle, you can stake it and get your share of the buybacks. So they're doing some buybacks and they're staking. I got to look a little bit deeper and see what like exactly, because if they're burning it all or just buying back and giving it all. But if you do stake here, then you're getting more S Pendle. So when you do claim, you're earning S Pendle. You're not earning stable coins or ETH or something like that, which I'd rather kind of like earn like a dividend, so that I can kind of separate those things and not have to pull out some and sell some all the time. But that's the thing about buybacks and then incentivize is you buy, you incentivize, and they sell. So it's kind of like 2 steps forward and 1.5 steps back, 2 steps forward and 1.5 steps back. Now why I say 1.5 steps back is because there's trading fees both ways, right? Okay, so moving on to the next one. Here we have the network breakout. So they did an interview with Mark Richardson of Bancor, and he was talking in here about AI agents and how there's risk everywhere, right, in crypto and in smart contracts and stuff like that. But AI agents also, the one thing he said here is very interesting, is that like humans are getting fished like crazy. Humans are pretty, like, it's been proven pretty easy that humans are pretty easy to fish. You just give them, like, you just tickle their greed bone, right? And as long as you tickle their greed bone, then they generally click on things they shouldn't click and they get fished, right? However, agents have been getting fished as well, right? They just don't have that same, you can't appeal to their emotions so to get them to fish, right? So if what I said here is like we have seen fishes in AI agents already. I remember Bankar had some sort of like fish that like send all your money. You used like Morse code or something to get them to send all these tokens to somebody, right? And then there was this like temple fund thing where they actually put an AI agent, gave him a bunch of money, and said fish him, get him to give you the money. So like it's already happening, and it's going to get worse, right? So be careful if you're actually using an AI agent and you've given him your private keys, or like give him it's okay to give an AI agent a private key and put some money in there for him to use, but don't give him your main private keys. That's what I'm kind of suggesting. Okay, so Ramses has updated their front end a little bit. So a few things. First of all, they've increased the amount of bins that you can select when you're creating your bin step. Sorry, they've increased the amount of bins, but the sizes of them. So if you were to choose something like 200 bin size, what this is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to create wider range liquidity with fewer transactions. So if you choose like one step and your range is pretty wide, you're probably going to have to send like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8. It depends on how wide, right? A whole bunch of transactions to get all your liquidity into all of these tiny little bins, right? And each of those tiny little bins increases the amount of gas you're spending. It's still pretty cheap because it's on like Robinhood chain, which is not insanely expensive. However, you don't need bin steps 1 for like meme coins or even like stocks. Use something wider, right? And so you can play around with that. So that's good. There's a few little things like you can click memes here if you're looking for memes instead of RWAs. If you're looking for pools, I don't know if you want to provide liquidity to meme coins or not, but if you are there. And then we add a new page to our docs describing DLLM. So the docs are there now, and you can go and look at them. Okay, last thing here. We've got a tweet here from Charlie Kerr. And he's talking about these 2 accounts. He doesn't say which accounts they are, but it's obviously Aerodrome accounts, right? And it's just talking about Uniswap and how, like, the metrics of engagement, right? And it's clear that when they talk about Uniswap, they get a lot more engagement. And so, and that kind of saddens me a little bit. I wrote this article, why scapegoats and troll enjoyment. Like, it's like everybody loves drama, everybody loves hate, everybody loves fighting each other. It's just much more effective than just talking what's good about my product. It's more effective to say, my product's good, but their product's really bad because they do this, and it's terrible, it's bad. That gives you more engagement in crypto than just saying why your stuff is good. And that saddens me. It makes me feel like we're just like sheep, like stupid idiots who just get led around by our emotions, right? So anyway, so that's kind of it for today. I hope this has been interesting and useful, and thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.